We headed for the stairs, but Glimmer stopped before we could go into the stairwell. "Glim, are you coming?" Marcus asked. Glimmer shook her head like a horse that smelled danger.
"No, and you shouldn't either. Is there another way to get there?"
I licked my lips and tried not to make my eyes track to the staff elevator. "Yeah, but it has its dangers, too." Glimmer put a single hand on the frame of the door and slid it up and around.
"How often do you travel this way?"
I thought about it. I guess pretty regularly. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 times a day sometimes.
"Then you are brave indeed. This is a way between, a passage into the spirit world. Sometimes it connects to the place you want, but I would wager that sometimes it takes you to places even you hadn't expected, does it not?"
I thought again about David and Francis and nodded. "Yeah, sometimes it does, though it's never done it to me."
"Hunter, has Fisher ever shown you the spell for anchoring? The one that, how do you say it, keeps you here in this place?"
Marcus nodded. "Yeah," he said, taking a marker out of his pocket and drawing a symbol on the back of his hand. He touched it, closing his eyes as he mumbled something quietly before moving on to Glimmer. The symbol didn't burst into sparks or glow or anything, but I felt that little buzz again and understood that whatever he had done, it had been some kind of magic. He repeated the process with Glimmer, maybe lingering over her hand a little longer than he needed to, and when he reached for me, I put my own hand out tentatively. He sketched something on the back of it, something with a lot of angles and curves, and when he touched it, I almost pulled it away. It was like a half-second clap of static electricity, and it felt like someone had put the shape onto my skin by electrolysis. I looked down at it, marveling at the strange symbol that, I hoped, hadn't been stamped onto my skin for keeps. Do you mind if I get a picture of it?" I asked, taking out my phone. Marcus chuckled. "I'll do you one better than that. After this is over, I'll show you how to do it yourself." "Really? I mean, can you? Like, what if I don't have the knack?" We started climbing the stairs, and then it was odd how normal it felt. Generally, when I climbed the stairs, it felt like, I don't know, like eyes were watching me, but now it just felt like a staircase in any other place. I'd never noticed it right on top before. Maybe it was something I had just become used to, but now that it was gone, it was like living after a debilitating illness. It felt strange because it was gone, but it feels weird that it feels weird. I'll have to do better with things like that if I'm going to write a competent book about this place. That sounded pretty elementary right there. "There isn't really a knack," Marcus explained as we climbed. "Everyone has magic in them. We are creatures that are willing conduits for it. But sometimes we just need a push towards it. We grow up believing in magic, well, most of us do, but when we don't see any of it right up close, we start to doubt it. It took a long time to get where I am, but it was a journey I don't regret starting. It was definitely life-changing, and it brought me closer to my grandfather. If you can teach me, I don't mind learning. Something like that would be helpful around here," I told him, pushing the door open for the 4th floor as we headed in. We found him on a couch in the waiting room for the ICU, and he looked up with a smile as we came in, like he'd been expecting us.
"My latest charge decided to linger on a bit, but I had thought that if I waited, I might get a chance to speak with you. It looks as if you've brought friends. Are they in the know?"
"Yeah, they know what's up. This is..." But when I turned back to Marcus, his eyes were wide, and Glimmer was reaching for something under her coat. Something I couldn't see. "John, step back over here," Marcus hissed. "What?" I asked, looking at him like he was crazy. This This is who we've come to see. This is my friend, the orderly. He helps people cross over. He puts spirits to rest."
"That is no man. He is a boatman, the Red Fox, a harbinger."
The orderly rolled his eyes.
"Oh, please. The legends around my kind have been inflated beyond recognition. I do, however, quite like the one about the Red Fox. It makes me sound clever, and it was why I chose these trappings."
He caught sight of the mark on my hand then, and smiled wetly, his strange teeth gleaming in the soft light overhead.
"Did you do that?" he asked Marcus. "That's some solid spellcraft, boy. You should be proud."
"Oh, I can do better than that," Marcus growled, "and I will, if you persist in needling me. John, have you made a contract with this creature?" I shook my head. "No, he's never offered me one."
The orderly snorted. "I am no demon wizard. I do not collect the souls of the dead and sell them or bind them. I move them on to what comes after. I am neither white nor black. I am gray, which is a prerequisite for a job such as this. I do not intend to bind your friend either. He is free to seek me out when and if he chooses, just as I am."
Marcus looked at Glimmer, but she didn't dare look away from the orderly. I don't sense a lie. His kind are often incapable of out-and-out falsehood. I think perhaps he may not be like the other."
"Other?" the orderly asked. "You have encountered another of my kind, then?"
Marcus nodded. "My grandfather entered a contract with one of your kind. It calls itself the Weldergeist." The orderly, someone I had rarely seen flustered, which is saying something since I'd seen Carl hold a gun on him, seemed to vibrate with agitated energy.
"That one is a poor example of our kind. I'm sorry that you and your kin have run afoul of him. He is a cautionary tale to other guides, something that could happen to any of us if we chose to step from the path. His aura is decidedly black, and if your grandfather has made a contract with him, then I wish him luck in breaking it. Power and knowledge are something that should be shared, not a currency to be traded."
Marcus seemed to unbristle, and Glimmer stood up straighter, though she kept her hand on whatever was in her coat.
"So, what brings you here tonight? I assume there is something you required, since you put the turnkey on my tail."
"Yeah, sorry about that," I said. We need to get you a cell phone or a bat signal or something. We're looking for help with room 301.
"And I have already told you that I will not step foot in there. To do so would be the end of me, and I am needed here for a while longer."
We just need to know how someone could protect themselves if they had to stay there. Maybe some wards or something. Maybe some kind of anchoring. The orderly thought about it, but bobbed his head in an undecisive way a moment later.
"I honestly have no idea. The room is connected to the desme of a powerful spirit, and I'm not sure that outer wards or charms would be of much use. The problem is being in the room itself, and she holds sway over it. It is possible that he could be anchored there, maybe even made invisible to her, but I don't know. She is very angry and very lonely, and I don't know what can be done to stop her."
I looked at Marcus, and he shrugged. "It's a start. Maybe we can ward him up, and he'll be okay until they send him home." "How much longer is he staying?" I asked, feeling like I wouldn't like the answer. A week, at the least. The doc says he's healing, but he's old, and they want to monitor him. He tells them that I'm home with him all day, but they want him checked by a doctor until they're sure his hip is going to set okay. Well, at least he isn't going to stay long term. Tell that to Grandpa. You'd think he's in prison the way he carries on.
I wonder if I might ask a favor,
the orderly said suddenly. Marcus stiffened again, but the orderly put his hands out placatingly.
No, not a deal, not a contract, just a favor. I could use your help tonight, he said,
as he turned to me.
And if your magically inclined friend wants to help too, it would be of great help.
What do you need? I asked.
The higher-ups have decided that it is time to collect the Boiler Man. He is becoming more agitated, closer to crossing the line into something dangerous, and they want him moved on.
He swallowed, picking his words carefully.
I think it would be prudent to have someone else there too, a second pair of hands. I've spoken to him before, and he can be very intense. Maybe you could talk to him, let him know there is something beyond this, something better.
I thought about it, nodding finally. I can do that, but I want your help with room 301, if I do.
I already told you.
You told me there was no way you could go inside, but there may still be something that you can do. If the little girl's spirit won't move on, is there some way that we can detach her? What did you call it? A desme? If we detach her desme from the room, then maybe we can stop her from having access to the people inside. The orderly nodded.
It's possible. There is a way to separate the desme from the anchor that attaches it to the world. I must tell you, however, that it would also detach the spirit, and whoever might be inside the place, they would spiral off into nothingness, forever adrift between this place and the next.
I didn't much like the sound of that, but it was our only real option. The chimes came on overhead, alerting people that there was an incoming announcement, and it was weird to hear Charles, the other guy who worked a night shift, come across the speaker. Code Blue, 4 North, room 32. Code Blue, 4 North, room 32.
That's my cue, the orderly said,
getting up and heading for the door.
This won't take long. I should be ready to proceed into the basement around 9, if that works for you.
I nodded, looking over at Marcus. Does that work for you? Wasn't like I had anything else going on tonight.
Excellent, the orderly said. I'll bring the instructions for untethering when I return, just in case you decide to take that route.
He left then, and the Code Blue was canceled not long after. Security called up to 4 North to assist. Translation: security needed to be there to sign for a death on the floor. Let's talk to Gramps, Marcus said, so we can see what he thinks. Maybe he's got some insight into all this. It looked like we had some time to kill anyway, so we went back to 301 to see Grandpa. He smiled when he saw Glimmer, saying it was good to see her, and we filled him in on what we had learned. He nodded, he listened, and when he was finished, he sighed and leaned back into bed.
Desmes are dangerous places, to be sure. There are ways to ward against them, but not many. I think your friend is right. Our best way is to try to make sure the ghosts don't see us. It's tricky stuff, ward-wise.
How would we even do something like that? Marcus asked.
Without the proper materials, it's next to impossible.
What do you need? I can go home and get the stuff."
"Son, you'd need grave soil, ashes from a funeral pyre, and herbs that could kill you if you touched them with your bare hands. We'd have to use the ash to make symbols on the wall, spread the herbs and the grave soil around the bed, and anyone who was staying in the room would need to stay in the bed until dawn."
"So I'll wear gloves," Marcus said, not understanding. Grandpa just laughed all the harder.
"Kid, they check on me twice an hour and take blood 4 times a night on average. How long do you think I'll be allowed to sit here in a room full of dirt with ash on the wall? They find me like that, and I'll be lucky if I don't wind up down in Laurelwood. No, we'll have to try something a little more analog."
What we ended up doing was using Grandpa's buck knife and some leather squares he had in his kit to make some charms. Grandpa hung 2 around his neck, a 3rd by the door, and a 4th over the bed. He seemed dubious about whether it would help or not, but he said that it would just have to work.
"We'll just have to hope for the best," he said, checking his watch before asking, "Don't you boys have some business to attend to?"
I checked the clock, and sure enough, it was 10 till 9. Glimmer wanted to come with us, but Marcus told her to wait with Grandpa. She didn't seem to like that, but Marcus was adamant that someone needed to stay here with him. Maybe if there's someone here, they won't be able to take him. Keep an eye on him until we get back, and then maybe we can make a better plan. He glanced over at his grandfather, sleeping soundly against his thin hospital blanket. "Keep him safe, Glim. He choked up a little, and she put a hand on his shoulder.
"I know. He is a lot of things to so many of us. Good hunting, my love."
We left her, sitting in one of those uncomfortable hospital chairs, and went about our work. "You're still here. Thanks for stopping by. Dr. Plague here. Always a pleasure to see all my new and old viewers coming by for another one of my spooky tales. If you'd like to support the show, you can always take part in one of our channel offers through Fume or Aura, or you can just click on another video when they come up. I'd really appreciate it. For our newer viewers, we also have lots of playlists and other things if you'd like to get caught up. I know some of my series have been going on for quite a while. If you'd like to get my latest book, there's a link down below that'll take you to my Amazon page. Towesey Homestead just came out, so if that's something you'd like to get your hands on, go ahead and have a look down there. If you'd like a signed copy, you can go ahead and email me from my email address on the site, and I'll get with you about shipping information and ship you a signed copy. If you'd like to support the channel in a more monetary fashion, we also have membership through YouTube, and we've got a Patreon that you can get the information for in the description. We have lots of tiers and everything to suit your needs. Patrons that support on the $10 tier, that's our Ghostly Reader tier, get a book anytime I write one, signed and on their doorstep. As you may have noticed, there's a list of patrons and members on the screen, and I'd like to personally thank every one of them for taking a hand in the future of this channel. Well, that's enough for tonight. Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.